as human beings, it's in us to make excuses about why are we not progressing forward.
True.
You know, and the honest truth is, no one is coming to save us.
Yeah.
The first person you have who has to save you is yourself. And there is lots of money, man.
Sure.
You know, people will talk about Africa. Hey, Africa doesn't have money. Hey, we need to go to Europe and all that. Money is here.
Yeah.
Because also there is a lot of problems here. You know,
Yeah.
that's why even those Afrikaners are coming back. The market is looking for value, man.
Sure.
Yeah, the market is looking for value. So the market is waiting out there for you.
Sure.
You know, it's not gonna come and knock, but then it will.
Hey, how's it, Mr. Reggie?
Hey,
Welcome
Josh. I'm behind your mics, man. Let me
Yeah,
behave
yeah.
myself. So you're a podcaster.
Oh yeah, Zupid, you know, it's
Yeah.
it's something in the progress.
Yeah.
In the making.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're building it slowly but surely.
Sure.
But how have you been, man? You married now?
Yeah.
For you to, we
You
are
don't
on
even
again.
invite us to
Yes,
the wedding.
you know, let
Yes,
me tell you
yeah, he
something.
did invite us.
Let me tell you guys, I think I want to start making a commitment to myself ukuthi angathendi ama-podcast walabafana basingile. No, but otherwise, gents, I've been good, man. I've been good. Yeah, umnandi umshado. Do you see, man? I'm building up a bit, you know. So la ngena khona mfethu ngiyakutshela necolony yakhona seyashisa. Yeah, so yeah, but life has been good, man. I think also as a man is one of those things that you must do, you know.
Okay.
And especially if you're a busy man.
Sure.
Yeah, the Bible says, I shall find you a suitable helper.
Sure.
You know? Yeah, and then maybe take advantage of this moment and say, hello, baby.
Sure.
I love you so much, eh? Thank you for allowing me to come to this podcast.
Yeah.
So, mina ngithola my authorization. You guys just move. Okay?
Yeah. Free
Yes,
man.
free.
Sure. But otherwise, how have you guys been? How is it going?
Yeah, we good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm okay.
Yeah. Remember, I'm in radio. I change lento. Sengicala uku-interview nini.
Yeah, no.
That's okay either way.
okay.
Yeah.
Sure,
It's a
sure.
conversation, so yeah.
Yeah.
But since you're a busy man,
Yeah.
when do you get the time to say hi, hello?
To my wife.
Yes.
Angisho ngihlala laphaya.
How well phela you
No,
come-
yeah,
you come
look,
late at night.
we get to balance this thing out, you know, and I think also the business is not like it's something like that consistently happen, you know, and I think one of the most important things in life is to basically have a plan, you know, and then a plan which is daily. You know, you wake up in the morning, you know how your day is going to look like.
Sure.
And then you are then able to create that time for your important people. You know.
Sure.
And then, yeah, maybe also another privilege that I have is that my wife is not a housewife. So she has a life also, you know.
Yeah,
So, but then at the end of the day, we know where we find each other.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
so that's a good thing.
Okay, just to change it a little bit.
Yeah.
In your business, do you also find time to make money?
Busy and money, man, they go together, man.
Really?
You know, yeah, because and it's a good question, this one, because sometimes also you can be busy doing nothing.
Oh.
Yeah. So you can be busy, very busy, but you're doing nothing. You know. How do we measure your productivity? I'm not saying it's through money only, you know. Sometimes it's also through impact, you know, through fulfilling of purpose, like you feel fulfilled after doing those type of things.
Sure.
Sometimes it's through empowerment of self, you know.
Sure.
Like for instance, one of the things I'm busy with myself, I'm in radio.
Okay.
I don't get paid in radio, by the
Sure,
way.
sure.
You know,
Yeah.
but then I get there. You see how free I am.
Yeah.
Interviewing, I can turn it around and interview you.
Yeah.
Because that thing, I went to radio, and then it's a skill that I got to master and master and master. And then now I get to get gigs where they book me to come and speak. When I get there, my articulation is proper. Where did I get the stage to train myself on this thing? I got busy with what? With radio.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, so business comes with a lot of benefits.
Sure.
You know, one of them being productive. Well, a summary is being productive, but then sometimes productivity we only link it to money only. You know, but then there's other things, you know, that you then get to tick, and then they work as an advantage for you.
Sure.
You know.
So have you always seen things like that to say, I'm going to start venturing into this particular area so that I can develop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 skill?
Yeah.
Or
So, I think, truth be told, most of it was a coincidence. Ne?
okay.
But then here's the thing: as I journey in life, I'm a banker by profession.
Sure.
I work for a bank, a cool one.
Sure.
I guess.
Sure.
You know.
Sure.
I think even starting to work, at first I didn't really like my job until I had to find value in it, to say what's in it for me, you know, because
okay.
I mean, we went to varsity and all we were thinking, I did become economics. I was just seeing myself analyzing graphs, the economy and all
Yeah.
of that, and then boom, I find myself in banking.
Sure.
Now, I mean, banking, I don't like it. But then the question is, are you going to stay here, be frustrated, or are you going to make banking work for you?
Okay.
You know? And then I decided, you know what, let me find value in this day. One of the things that I liked about banking is the fact that I'm client facing. I get to meet different people every day of my life, as long as I'm doing banking. And then these people, among them, there's people who are doing well or who are doing good, very good, and very, very good. I get exposed to them.
Sure.
I get to ask, what actually do you do? Then I started, I mean, interacting with these people, I then noticed that actually there's more to life. You know, there is opportunities. There is this big cake, man. That is so enough for all of us.
Yeah.
You know, and then I then decide that, you know what, I also want the cake, a slice on that cake, and I want a very big slice. You know, so it's never something that like I knew intentionally I was doing, but then in small habits or actions they compounded into me noticing that, oh, actually, with this that I do, this is the value that I can get. You know, and look, I look at people, I see money, bro. That's why I love them. Even
Yeah.
you guys.
Yeah.
I see money here. You know. So
Yeah,
that's where my mindset started getting to say, okay, there's no money without humans.
Yeah.
True.
I think of any business you create, you are creating it for people. So
Sure.
that's why, hey, you got to love people. Hey, listeners,
Yeah.
people are your pocket, man. It's like a lot of people who leave their job and they are saying, I want to be my own boss because I won't get to deal with who. No, man, your boss are your customers. That's the thing. Try not to do what they are hiring you for and see if ever you'll be paid. You won't.
Sure.
You know. So at the end of the day, all of us have a boss.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So Maraish, you mentioned the cake,
Yeah.
and you just want a slice, but I want the whole cake. So how do I get out of that mindset of the whole cake?
Yeah, no, you can't get the whole cake. Yeah, that's the thing. And that's a reality we must accept, you know. I think in economics does prove it that economics speaks a lot about the circulation of money. You know, we are in an economy. You are doing podcasting, educating us about certain information, about life skills and all of that. And then there is someone who deals with healthcare services. You know, you can't then go and be a doctor.
Yeah.
And then, you know, when you are sick, you are healing yourself. You know, sometimes you live here, you are actually tired. You need someone to drive you.
Sure.
You know, so that's why the cake is very big for all of us. So that what? Money can circulate.
Okay.
If you try and say you want the whole cake, man, then you are not living.
Yeah.
You know, you have to drive an ambulance, get there, be a doctor, be a teacher.
Yeah.
You know, Sunday go and preach. You know, so each and every person, they must find their purpose.
Yeah.
You know, after finding their purpose, identify what problem they can solve in a human life
But how do you find the purpose?
in motion. Yeah, you should.
Okay.
You see, the thing is, and it's a very difficult question, eh? And a lot of young people, like, we struggle with this. Oh, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? Purpose, man, really is found in motion. You must do something in order for you to find your purpose. So sometimes we go, women of God, hey, I'm going to blame us today.
Yeah.
We go, we pray, bruh. We pray a lot. We get there, we pray. But then we pray and then we come back, we sit down. I'm waiting for God to reveal my purpose.
Sure.
How is that going to happen?
Sure.
You know, purpose is in motion. And here's the thing. Another important thing. This motion, remember, you can't just do it anyway. You need a community.
Yeah.
You know, you need a community. You get in a church space. I know of a lot of people, even myself. My business got built from a church space.
Okay.
How so? I was not interested in sound. I remember, varsity, there was a time SEO used to carry speakers, and then I never saw it as like sound engineering,
Yeah.
work with speakers, mixers, and then I would press there, and then they say sound was nice today because I was there. And I'm like, I can't even remember what I did.
Yeah.
You know? And then fine, after varsity, remember my mindset is on, I'm an economist. You know? Life hits, I'm not an economist. I'm actually helping with customers with collecting their cards at the bank. And I'm like, man, with my economics degree, how am I actually doing this? You know? And then a shifting of mindset had to happen there, that, okay, let me see how I can work around here. Now, I involve myself in church. I get in church, I'm part of a media team. I'm just joining media, man. I remember I was doing lyrics, you know. And according to me, I'm just doing it, you know. And this is one thing I would encourage every young person looking for purpose and feeling like they're struggling with that, you know. Look for a space, a community space, you know. If you are comfortable with church, go into a church, especially with huge production. But sometimes, remember, it gets frustrating to train someone from scratch,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But if you can start less, you know, start small and do those small things like lyrics, operating, typing them, and all of that. Bit by bit, you get exposed to, okay, this is how things work, this is how live stream works, this is how sound works, and all of that, you know. Right in there, you can identify your purpose. And then maybe you are not much of a technical person, you know. There's things like your counseling team, there is things like your ushering team, you know. There's a lot of things in the community that you can look at, and then you start involving yourself. Right there, that's where we can find purpose.
How can one build a business in a godly way?
I think really to answer you simple and straightforward is that in your business, let's look at the ethics, you know, let's look at what purpose are you, what problem are you solving, you know, how are you simplifying other people's lives? Are you then going killing people in order for your business to be successful? Then that's ungodly, you know. But then if your business, it's speaking to a particular human problem, solving that particular problem, you know, it's making life simple for the humans, then that's a godly business.
Sure.
You know, you don't, someone maybe at home was expecting me to say, you must go into your closet and then speak in tongues. And no, man. You know, we need to tap into that reality that there is problems. Solve a problem, and then the market will pay you. You know, as long as you are not doing anything unethical, that business is within your purpose. You get fulfilled after doing it. You are seeing the impact that you are making. Then that's godly. It's glorifying God.
But okay, I have a question, and I'm not disputing, but I'm thinking offish.
Yeah.
Say for you it's working, but for me it's not working. Yet we're in the same business.
Yeah.
So let's say let's take this production for example.
Sure.
We wanna get the biggest pod to
Yeah.
come and hire these things.
Sure.
and they're not hiring from me, they're hiring from you.
Okay.
So therefore, I'm suffering it at your expense.
Yeah.
And is that godly?
So, I think,
Yeah.
look, man, that is market related.
Okay.
Ne? That market that you want, it can happen that possibly equipment wise you are not at that level.
Okay.
Maybe that's one reason. Maybe even in terms of experience, you are not
Sure.
at that level. But I want you to look at it this way. Go do your research about how many people are on Earth. Ne? Then after understanding how many people are on Earth, and then go check how many people require production services.
Sure.
Then from there, you'll actually realize that there is also a market for you. Because there's no way in which Reggie can cater for the whole market in the world. Sometimes you are thinking your market is just in Sandton and Reggie is dominating Sandton. Now you limit yourself to Sandton. I'm not saying don't market Sandton. Market Sandton, but think broad. Maybe Reggie owns that market, but there's a market in India. Maybe your market is not local. It's in India or it's in the USA. It's supposed to pay you in dollars. But because you're busy fighting for this small market.
Yeah.
That's why, there's a lot of people, they tell you, Ish, I have an idea of starting this particular business of,
So whatever.
sell
Yeah.
whatever. Or I want to start a spaza shop. But then I come out of my street, I see, this one has a spaza shop. But there is you must look at the market demand. Chances are that those shops, Pick and Pay will never close just because ShopRite launched next door.
Yeah.
But what they will do is, how do we make our shop attractive to the customer? That's it.
Sure.
Yeah. So a lot of us, we do have these ideas that are failing just because we are looking externally and then we are limiting our business to this space that we are seeing, But then, Khante, how we are supposed to be actually doing it is to look at the market.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at the market. Now you may be having an idea to start selling T-shirts, but then you start thinking about Markhams.
Yeah.
And then you're like, Markhams, they are already selling and they've got people. It actually gives you a chance to research, how can I beat Markhams? But also, again, the greatest research is, how many people want clothes?
Yeah.
Can Markhams really sell to this whole world?
Sure.
Never.
Yeah.
They can't.
Yeah.
No. So all of us do have this piece that we can get.
Yeah. A slice of the cake.
It's just maybe sometimes we really shoot ourselves down before we could even start, because we're thinking so and so is a big company and then they're already. It's like myself. I'm in the production space, sound, higher, and all of that. There's a lot of companies that I know. I know they're even bigger than me, but I'll never shut down that business just because there's another company that hires sound. No. How many events happen? Even now there's an event. Can they cater for all of them in the world? No.
Yeah. Okay, I see.
So it's less of a pie and more of a garden.
Sure.
Because when you eat a
Yeah.
fruit, you get seeds, and that seeds you plant trees, and trees
Correct.
seeds again, and
Yeah. 100. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart guy.
Dr. Masego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So listening from you, dog, it sounds as if you don't believe in unemployment.
Yeah, no.
You don't,
No. I don't really believe in look, unemployment is there. Let me not be insensitive. It's
Yeah.
there.
The mindset.
Yeah, but you need to. One time I was talking to this one lady, and she's like, "Oh, I'm not getting a job." I'm like, "What if you're not born to actually work for someone?"
Yeah.
What if this whole job thing, like, really it's not where you are supposed to be? And I liked the fact that she was a spiritual somewhere.
Sure.
She's Christian.
Yeah.
I'm like, but what if you're busy pampering God with that's not where I'm taking you.
Sure.
You know, what if it's that?
Sure.
You know, sharp. Look for your job. You know,
Sure.
fair. That's where you wanna be. And some. Let me tell you a funny thing. Sometimes they look for this job so much, and then they get there frustrated,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
then they go and
Yeah.
write toxic work environment.
Sure.
When
Yeah.
you pray for a job, also pray for the environment. You know. But the thing is, God didn't want for you to take that path.
Yeah.
But you were just forcing it because it's a system that was created that everybody goes to university or to school, and then after school they must go to a job. That's what the system was. That's how it was designed. But then, I mean, we young people, we need to change the game.
Yeah.
And let me tell you the truth. I mean, you guys are the first example. You guys are not really employed.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, we know.
You understand?
Yeah.
You're not employed.
Yeah.
And if I check, what is your work profile like? It's nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and I know of young people. I mean, I go around talking, you know, and then one thing I've analyzed is that you go to these universities where there's young people. About 60% of these young people, they have businesses registered in their name,
Sure.
or they are pushing a side hustle, which is informal. Either pushing content, remember, that's a
Yeah.
business
Yeah,
Sure.
that's a
these
business.
days with a lot of money. Either selling something online,
Yeah.
others even trading.
Sure.
Sure.
How many young people, maybe you know, who went into varsity and then while there they started having a mindset of Island Thai Savings, you know,
Yeah.
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 and pushed something else
Yeah.
on the side. And it worked out.
Sure.
You know, so things are really changing. It's unlike back then with our parents who just thought, hey, my child, you must get in there, get in the bank, work until you are a manager. And then the next thing they make you a regional manager. You know, we no longer about that.
Sure.
You know, that thing, yes, there are those who are really called to be corporate executives and all of that. But life has really changed when it comes to those type of things. Opportunities are everywhere, you know.
Sure.
It's no longer about a given routine of you go to varsity, study BCom economics, you come out, you get an internship related to economics, you get a job, you become an economist. No. That thing is no longer happening. And why? Because also we are in South Africa, we're seeing the statistics around unemployment, unemployed graduates, you know. But so the key thing is, yes, you've completed your qualification, or maybe even while busy with the qualification, start looking at, okay, what is it that I'm grabbing the most, which should plan A of getting a job not work out? What am I doing with this education?
Sure.
Yeah. You know, and also again, we need relevancy now.
Yeah.
You know, we look at the problems happening. We look at qualifications that actually will speak to the future, like will actually address the current problems that we are having as a nation. You don't go study call center,
Yeah.
forgetting that this time around when you call MTN, you will talk to a machine
Yeah.
one way, and then it asks you a question: how can I help you? You state AI picks it up, and then they give you an answer. Then it's a hang up. No human interaction.
Yeah.
You know, so you must check all of those things in order for you to be relevant to what the market wants. You know.
What's your stance on working for free?
I'm for that.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm for that. And it's not really working for free, because while
Yeah,
you're working
yeah.
there, you're actually gaining some
Sure.
some knowledge.
Sure.
You know, and remember, we go to varsity. Do we go there mahala?
No.
We actually pay.
Yeah.
So now, and then after varsity, you get to a job. They ask you for work experience.
Experience. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so now someone is offering you a chance to actually gain
That experience.
experience for free. It's free training. That's
Yeah.
how we should look at it.
Sure.
That's why I also mentioned the issue of being involved in the community and not be an introvert.
Yeah.
You know?
Wolf, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we glorify that sometimes. I am an introvert. But really, if you sometimes look at it, you closing yourself out of this market of human beings that I love.
Sure.
Oh, these people have problems. Give them solutions, they will pay you.
Sure.
Yes.
You
yeah.
know, I went. Yeah, it was a sad one. This week I was having a talk somewhere in Tembisa. Bruh, those young people were discouraged, man. Like, okay, guys, let's talk about money. Do you guys have an income? No, we don't have an income. Okay, how do you survive? We don't know. They give us money. What happens in the weekend? Hey, we go groove. What do you use to groove? I'm telling you because I mean that's really sad because the very same people who have so much excuses to stay broke, come weekend, they are the most drunk.
They make plans.
How?
Yeah.
You know? So that's where I was trying to show them that guys, it's not that you don't have an income. The thing is, each time we want to have a money conversation, you already are creating excuses of why you are staying broke. It's like now, Josh, yourself here, coming and saying, I am not becoming successful because I'm black, and then blacks were disadvantaged back then.
Sure.
I mean, that becomes an excuse enough for you to stay broke.
Yeah.
Because you look for, instead of actually looking for the problem within you, you look for it externally. You know, there's a book, I don't know by who. Well, my wife reads a lot of books, and the nice thing is that, babe, I just came across this, you know,
Sure.
and then I get to read the book through her. The book is titled The Mountain Is You. Like, the title blew me up. So many times when we are failing, maybe as individuals, or we have certain challenges as individuals, instead of me looking at myself as the problem, looking at my habits, the things I like doing, how I spend my time, I want to look at it externally.
Sure.
Yeah. They ask me, why are you not productive at work? No, because at work they favor this type of people, they do this and that and that. Instead of actually introspecting myself and noticing that I'm actually not pushing at work. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I want to look for a problem externally. Oh no, I am not becoming successful because my parents were abusive to one another.
Sure.
You know, so here's the thing. In life, I think there's two stories. Ne? There's your given story, and there's a story that you write for yourself. Given story is the fact that you are Joshua. You were born in Mpumalanga. There's nothing you can do about that. Your parents is Jonathan and Nandi. That's your given story.
Sure.
But then the story that requires you is how you are defined in the future. And that one, you have to write it yourself. No one will write it for you.
Sure.
Are you guys shocked?
Yeah, we're still processing.
La process.
Yeah, the process.
Yeah, so, but I think in a nutshell, what I'm just saying is that, like, man, as human beings, it's in us to make excuses about why are we not progressing forward.
True.
You know, and the greatest enemy that an individual has is themselves. It's me. It's me, bruh. Look, even now, I can't say Bu Joshua after the podcast, they are the ones who pushed me to go and drink bottles where. If we get a footage from God of that scenario, you will see I got into my car, Galaisha Bu Joshua, we followed each other, we got to that particular club. Joshua didn't take a bottle and force it into my mouth.
Sure.
No.
Sure.
I had an option to say no.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
So The Mountain is you. I recommend that book, by the way.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
How long is it?
Oh,
I don't know. Check with my wife. Must come and interview her.
Yeah. She's coming.
Sure, no,
Yeah,
she
she's
should
coming.
come through. Yeah, she should
so
come through.
even with running a business,
Yeah.
does that principle still apply?
Of The Mountain is you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, a business is a risk. You know.
Sure.
Remember, we must take calculated risks. That's why they call us entrepreneurs. You know. It may fail. It may be successful.
Yeah.
You know. But then the failure, sometimes it doesn't mean that the idea is bad. It's not working. because the thing is, when you first, nobody starts a business for it to fail.
Sure.
It means they had seen that potential,
Yeah.
you know. But now what's left is how do you put in implementation? Oh,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, maybe. And sometimes that's why, like, we must look at failure in a different eye of, okay, this is a learning curve. How can I change? How can I maybe do this better here? Let me adjust this and that and that. But then sometimes it's a thing of, once it fails once, we then don't want to look at what is it that I could have, I might have done wrong.
Sure.
Because we don't want to be wrong.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
we just want to be right.
Sure.
I was telling Masego this one time, I'm like, who are we talking to? Yeah, we had just interviewed some gentlemen after the show there, and I'm talking about, you know, the journey to success. We never discuss it, but we discuss success.
Sure.
Oh.
Sure. Sure.
And that's why a lot of people then get it wrong, because I'm looking up to Joshua. Joshua started this podcast. He's now sitting on 50,000 subscribers. Each video is sitting on 10,000 minimum viewership, you know. But forgetting that Joshua, one time when he started, he would sit on 3 views. And Joshua doesn't tell this story.
Sure. Sure. I think that's also what we.
Yeah. You know, Joshua doesn't tell that story that one time when we interview Joshua and he has 1 million subscribers, Joshua, he doesn't tell us that, hey, there was a time I would have 3 viewers and I would be so discouraged. I would think of stopping this whole thing. You know, he doesn't tell us.
yeah.
He just tells us that, guys, you know, when you have an idea, the key thing, just start, man.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Never
just
give
start.
up.
And never give up.
Yeah.
You know, the main thing is to start.
Sure.
You know, but he doesn't state that, hey, guys. And then along the journey, you know, you'll have moments where you have 100 people only viewing and 3 likes.
Yeah.
You know,
Sure.
and that thing will get to you because it takes time to set up all of this.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's time. It's money for you to come here, transport. It's time for you to edit and all of that, and then just for you to get 100 views.
Sure.
You know? But let me tell you one thing Dr. Masego once gave me as an idea. Is like, you know, we are shooting this podcast. It then has 100 views, and then I get sad. You know.
Sure.
But then the question is, if ever I was called to come and speak and the room is full of 100 people, how
Yeah.
would that make me feel?
Yeah. Yeah.
So view it that way.
Yeah.
You know, I'm talking to a content creator now.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're creating your content, you don't have much following as yet, and then you get discouraged by the fact that only 100 people, 79 people viewed. The question is, if these 79 people were in a room and they are listening to you address them, how would you feel about that?
Sure.
That's Dr. Maseko. Close quote. You know.
Yeah, I like. You mentioned something on, what was it? Success.
Yeah.
And you got me thinking on vision boards.
Oh.
That vision boards just show you the car, the house,
Yeah.
and so on and so
Eish.
forth.
Yeah.
And there was a guy who said, throw those things away.
Is
Rather,
it? Yeah.
have a treasure map.
Treasure
Because a treasure map, it shows you
Sure.
where to go
Okay.
and how to get there, rather than that
The
getting
final
there,
product.
final
The
product.
outcome. Yeah.
Sure. Man, that's powerful.
Yeah.
I'm learning something. Actually, I was about to bash that guy. I said, hey, man.
Yeah.
Then, like, you know, a vision is like drawing up a plan.
Sure.
You know.
Sure.
And again, ngicela ukushaya abazalwane. You know, abazalwane, we sometimes rely on one scripture and
Yes,
think we can
yes.
stand on it. You
Sure.
know, many are the plans in the heart of a man, but the will of Lord always prevails. You know, and then I think I must sit down and wait for the plan from the Lord. You know, forgetting there's another scripture that says, when you have a vision, put it down so that whosoever finds it is able to run with it.
Sure.
Man, that's very important.
Sure.
It's very important because, man, like a lot of us are just living life as it goes.
Yeah.
We are without a plan.
Yeah.
Ish. Sometimes I write statuses and I remember them, but then I forget to actually I forget what I wrote. But I think a couple of days, there's a status I wrote and I was like, if you are without a plan, which is a vision, it means you are just living,
Yeah.
you know, and hoping that things will just work out. And that's like one thing we need to get rid of,
Sure.
you know. When you put down a plan, and I like the whole
Yeah, treasure map.
mapping thing, you know, maybe let's not completely get rid of the vision board,
Vision board,
but
yeah.
then incorporate them with the map. You call it what?
Treasure map.
A treasure map.
Yeah.
You know, we write a vision. There is my vision. They are there, and then
We break it down. with
break it down.
Yeah.
How am I getting there?
Sure.
Maybe you put yourself there at the center as
Yeah.
an individual,
Yeah.
and then this is a way to my 3 million mansion. How am I getting there? You know, this is my way, a way to my G-Wagon. Hey, I like a G-Wagon. Yeah, this is a way to my G-Wagon. This is a way to maybe purpose driven
So and
type
so.
of thing.
Yeah.
How am I impacting the people? You know, because I mean that's also important. We shouldn't only have goals around ourselves only, you know, but we must actually contribute towards making others better.
Sure.
Yeah, we draw out all of that. When you see it there, it's also a reminder that Josh, you can't go party, man.
Yes, yes.
There's a plan that needs to be fulfilled.
Executed.
You know, but then if ever we treat it like a budget. Yeah, we once had a
Yeah,
topic
yeah,
with Dr. Masego, and
Masego.
we were talking about time and money. Munna, the two you can't separate, man. Look at it. All of us here are operating on time which is a currency which requires a budget.
Sure.
You guys are recording here today. If you don't plan around time of what time is Reggie coming and for how long, we might have overlaps.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, and tamper with people's plans for the day.
Sure.
You know, so hence, even a vision board and the map, treasure map, they help in guiding us that, okay, these are the decisions that you are supposed to be doing in order for you to get there. And then these decisions, as you do them, you can't do them without time. No.
Sure.
Most of the decisions that we do, they are financially related.
Yeah.
That's why time is the first currency we have. You know, without time, I am unable to make money. Here's an example. If I was to die, my chances of making money are finished because I can't make money from the grave.
Yeah.
You know, another example, if you think you can make, okay, let's think of it this way. I'm in a hospital bed.
Sure.
I have 3 million
Yeah.
in my account. At the hospital, they tell me, Reggie, you have a particular health condition.
Sure.
And for us to solve this health condition, you need to pay us 2 million.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you are actually left with 2 weeks before you pass. What do you think I'll do as Reggie?
You will spend the how much? Say 2 weeks.
2 million, yeah.
2 weeks. You will spend how many days? 13 days trying to find that.
2 million. No, so
that,
look,
that, no,
I
you have the
man.
2 million
Yeah.
to expand the 3 million into 5 million.
Yeah.
Then
So,
you can. Yeah.
But the key thing is to show that time is actually more important than money.
Yes.
I will take the 2 million
Uh,
to try and extend
Your
the time that I have,
Yes.
my life. You know? So that why 2 million is fine. I managed to raise it
Yeah.
when I was alive.
Sure.
It means if I extend my life, I can raise it again.
Again.
So hence, the subject of time is very important.
yeah.
But many of us don't think about it like
Yeah,
that.
we don't. That's the thing. I'm telling you, Josh, if ever we're treating time like a currency, we would look at what is it that I'm doing.
Sure.
You know, we would look at it like that. That, hey, when Josh calls me and say, "Bra, no, let's fly to Cape Town and have some fun." You know, I then start checking, do I have that time? Do I have that budget? You know, and then in us drawing a vision plan, like the very important thing you mentioned, the treasure map. The treasure map is a daily thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a vision plan, then we have a treasure map that operates, that guides us daily in order for us to reach that vision.
Sure.
You understand?
Sure.
So now, treasure map will then make me to think as Reggie. Today it's a Saturday. I went to Josh. We recorded. Blah blah blah. I get home before I sleep. I think of, okay, tomorrow what steps, what action, how am I spending my 24 hours?
Sure.
Yeah, we treat it as a 24 million. Every day, 24 million is given to everyone.
Sure.
Yeah.
And how you spend your 24 million is up to you. And if you don't have a treasure map, it then means you just spend it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it becomes psychological.
Sure.
You know, when they tell us that ke Friday, kaosane ke weekend, we then think we have a lot of time. That's why then weekend feels like weekend dipela fast.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
because weekend we don't draw out a plan of, okay, I need to maybe do groceries, do laundry, do this and that and that and that. You know.
Sure.
But then come weekend, hey, it's cut some jive, baba.
Sure.
One way, it's time for fun. And then all of a sudden that time is gone. You know, we look at the task that we had to do, or we look at the vision. There was no what you call treasure map.
Yeah.
You know, to guide us that this weekend this is how you're going to spend it. These are the things we're gonna do, and then that's it.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah. What are your last words that you can give to the audience out there?
Yeah, the audience, ne? So I think your audience is mainly young people.
Yeah. Youth.
And
youth.
actually young adults
Young adults, yeah.
and those adults.
Yeah.
Well, I'll quote myself from the talk I had this week, that the honest truth is no one is coming to save us.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
The first person you have who has to save you is yourself. And sometimes actually you are the very same person. You need to save yourself from yourself.
Yeah.
Because you are the first enemy you have, you know. So no one is coming to save you. You have to rescue yourself. Firstly from yourself. And then after rescuing yourself from yourself, you then start fulfilling the promises you have for yourself.
Sure.
Because you do have good plans, good thoughts, good ideas about yourself. But the problem is yourself.
Sure.
Because you then don't take the right actions towards the type of life that you want. You know. So the market is waiting out there for you.
Sure.
You know. It's not gonna come and knock, but then it will take you doing the right preparations, doing the right habits daily, kancane, and they will compound into a great thing. And the market is awaiting you with your talent, your skill, and whatever that you're bringing. Because everybody has something to offer to this world. So no one is coming to save you except yourself. I thank D.
Yeah. So the market basically rewards you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. The market, let's check it, man. The market is looking for value, man.
Sure.
Yeah, the market is looking for value. Even you wouldn't pay anyone who doesn't add value, who's not solving whatever thing that you want for yourself. You know, the market is ready, and there is lots of money, man.
Sure.
You know, people will talk about Africa. Hey, Africa doesn't have money. Hey, we need to go to Europe and all of that. Money is here.
Yeah.
Because also there is a lot of problems here. You know. So problems, it means there is an opportunity
For solutions.
So for solutions. You know. So if anything, people must stay in Africa, man.
Sure.
That's why even those Afrikaners are coming back. You know. Yeah.
I'm saying, thank you so much, man,
Sure.
for
No,
coming
thank
to
you.
the podcast. Yeah.
Thank you guys, and big
Thank
ups.
you.
Thank you
Yeah.
for that first step, you know.
Sure.
And keep continuing.
Sure.
Interview us. We're here to support you.
Sure.
And guess what? We're gonna have the youth. I know.
Oh, yeah.
I still owe you. I owe you a youth event,
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
for Mindset Profit. Let's host that one.
Yeah.
You know, call our audience,
Sure.
and then we come have these conversations
Sure.
on a live. And I'm sure you realize there's nothing we don't have.
Yeah,
We have
yeah,
everything
yeah,
we need.
yeah,
You know. So and thank you to your listeners. And if you haven't subscribed,
Hey,
subscribe. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Thank
gents.
you.
Sure.
Sure.